everyone, and welcome to our video series. We're doing interviews highlighting the ways in which people are fostering mental health. Really excited today. We have David Jones as our special guest. He works with the Microsoft Envisioning team and does some really cool stuff. We met at a conference several years ago, and I have been keeping up with his work, and he's doing some awesome stuff. So thank you for coming, David.
Thanks for having me, Donna.
From Seattle, right? You're in
Yes, I'm in
Seattle?
Seattle. Unseasonably beautiful here today. It's
Nice.
warm and sunny. I think the East Coast is getting the deep freeze. We're getting the 80 degrees weather.
Nice. Good for
We'll take it
you.
while
I
it
think
lasts.
that certainly fosters mental health.
Absolutely. That's actually top of my list.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing at the Envisioning team.
Well, right now we look at the future of work, future of how people try to be productive. And today it's a lot about looking at working remotely and what does collaboration look like, or when you're stuck at home, or when you're at home with your family and there's kids, how do you find focus? What does it mean to have a good day under these circumstances? And so we're both sort of running a real-time experiment by living it, but also asking, so what does it mean for work going forwards? What does it mean for the types of products we use, the way the interfaces work, and the environments we work in?
I would imagine this has been a huge change because you've been thinking for a long time about 5-10 years in the future, and then all of a sudden this sort of puts a little bit of
For the digital transformation of your company, the CEO, the CTO, or COVID-19? And right now the answer, we've sort of jumped forward years in terms of everyone switching to a online modern work type of work style, and we're all sort of doing it simultaneously, figuring it out as we go. Infrastructures try to handle it all. It's a really interesting time for people who work in this space.
It must be such a good learning experiment, and seeing, we don't have a choice. All of a sudden it changes, and you think about the education system and
Yeah.
how, I'm an educator, so I can say that we're a little bit reluctant to change, and digitally a little bit reluctant there. But all of a sudden everybody had to learn. It wasn't a choice.
Yeah, we've been talking about online education forever, and now everybody's trying to do it. And so we're going to see what works and what doesn't, and then what needs to change going forward.
What are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned from it?
I think for work, different types of work lend themselves to being done at home very well. I think you get more, well, for some people, provided you have a good workspace and not a lot of interruptions, you get a lot of focus work done. But you miss the collaboration. You miss we call it idea sex, the idea of like bouncing ideas off each other and trying on different things for size, where that face-to-face, rapid, sometimes talking over each other type of brainstorming doesn't happen very well. It doesn't work well like that over Zoom calls or Teams calls. You don't get the same emotional bandwidth. We're also seeing interesting issues around boundaries as well, where if you're in conference calls all day, the day gets chopped up into all these meetings, and you're at your desk, and sometimes you feel you're working harder, but there's no transition between work and home. And so taking care of yourself mentally is becoming more and more important as well. And we're asking, what is that? What does that mean? What does a good day look like? Is it just doing more, or is it you want to feel good about your day, but also feel good about yourself too at the end? And is it sustainable?
And I think that is so critical in terms of that mental health piece, and our expectations, I think, have to be adjusted as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, and I have 4 kids at home, 3 of whom are in high school, and just and 1 in middle school. So the expectations around what you're going to learn and how long it takes you to do something in a Zoom class and online versus in person.
Yeah. You have to sort of reset expectations about what success is for a day. And sometimes you have days where you get nothing done, or it feels that way, but you can't sort of beat yourself up for it because you were responding to fire drills or to accidents at home or to whatever came up. And that's okay. Not every day can be pushing the big boulder uphill significantly.
Yeah, I like to say that some days are 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and some days are 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And it's,
Yeah.
You get to the end. And that's, as a parent and as when you're working, you have to have to look at what are those priorities, um, and how can we incorporate them. And that really must be so much of what your work is. How are we looking at work of the future? What do we value? What do we put in? And how can we help people to foster a good life, not
Yes.
just.
Actually, to talk a little about some of our work, some of the specific ideas that we're working on right now center around what does a good day look like? What does a good hour look like? And of course, there's other uh, time scales as well, but we're trying to focus on those right now and understand at a very deep level, what is it that makes that hour at work where you just get everything's just clicking, you're in flow. How do you get there? What's required? And then when do you eject from it? Because we've also all had the experience where you've worked too much on something and you're getting diminishing returns, and you
Yes.
should have put the pencil down a while ago, or the keyboard stepped away from the keyboard. And so we're trying to understand what is it that, what are those limits? How can we become aware of them so that we can self-regulate better
I
and
think
do better over time?
yeah, one of the things I always go back to the model and the brain, and we have to have
Mhm.
that balance, because your brain can't sustain. You have to make sure that you have those breaks, that you have the time to go down and get something to eat, the time,
Yep.
and how do you work that in? And I'm sure that this is a difficult time for that, when people are adjusting to schedules of all being home together, and internet use. Who can be at the
Yep.
internet at the same time?
Yeah. And we often look at it as about, rather than managing your time, managing your energy,
Hmm.
we're managing your attention and looking at when your energy sort of ebbs and flows during the day, and what types of tasks are best suited for those different moments, how you feel energetically. What is it that drains you? What is it that energizes you? How do you smooth those bumps out, or do you want them smooth? That sort of thing. And
Yeah.
of course, mental health plays into that in a big way, because in some way, mental health is just, you feel good, you feel prepared, you feel you're able to be there, be present, and bring all of you to whatever task you're trying to work on. And if you don't have mental health, you just don't have that.
Well, one of the mental health issues we're seeing so much of are anxiety, depression, addiction, and some violence. And one of the things I usually say to people is, when we think about anxiety and depression, or violence, anxiety and depression are kind of like fight, flight, or freeze. So
Mhm.
in the brain, they roughly translate to fight, flight, or freeze. And so everyone thinks the opposite of anxiety is being calm, and the opposite of depression is happiness. But really, the opposite of both is action, is having that energy to go out and do things and be productive. And it's, I think one of the things that we're seeing so much in this time is that it's so easy for people to get into that loop of inaction. Well, I
Mhm.
can't go out and do this, so I think I'll just sit and watch
Yeah.
Netflix. And that brings us, because we're then not getting the neurochemicals that we need to get
Yeah.
that action, it's a loop.
What's interesting is we found that one of the most motivational things is, in fact, making progress on something.
Yes.
And just forward progress is highly motivational. And if you can find, we've been calling them micro tasks, little things that you can do, super easy tasks that sort of get you in the mood to work on something, you can easily tackle a huge project just by picking off little bits. Next thing you know, you've got momentum and you keep going.
Well, that's the neurochemicals. That's those brain
Mhm.
chemicals saying, "Oh yeah, I did it." It's, we get that little burst of dopamine, of
Mhm.
serotonin, that motivates. Oh, well, maybe I want to do that more, and that's the way the brain works. But it also goes the opposite way. That you can, once when you don't have that energy, and you're not doing something, it's hard to move. One of the things I
Mhm.
love is some of the YouTubers that are getting people exercising. There's one YouTuber, Chloe Ting, who's got this TikTok 2-week challenge, and so many of the adolescents are doing this 2-week challenge together, and I love that she's motivating people. It's easy. It's 10-minute videos.
Mhm.
So you can do as many as you want, but you're right, that little bit of, oh, okay, I did 10 minutes, I can do 20. And once I motivate, all I'm committing to is that 10 minutes. That's
Yeah.
it. And
Well, they
that,
say what the hardest part of working out is just getting your workout clothes on. Like
yeah,
once you get ready, it's like, okay, then whatever happens, happens. But if you could just get that far,
and that's such a critical piece to it. And that's hard.
fascinating.
I find that
It's
hard.
it's really interesting to see the innovation, like you mentioned on TikTok, fitness and stuff that's going to come out of this. I think people are trying a lot of different things,
Mm.
and we don't know what's going to succeed yet. But I think we're going to be. I am expecting to be delighted and surprised by some of the things that come out of this.
Yeah. I think, there,
Necessity is the mother of invention, and I think people are going to be trying all sorts of things.
yeah, I would agree with you there. So what are some of the ways I've been asking people that you are fostering your own mental health right now?
The thing that works best for me is spending some time outside every day. As you can see, I'm taking this call outside. I don't know if you can hear the leaf blower in the distance. Apologies for that.
Oh, I
Um,
can't.
but I try to go for a walk every day,
Mm.
about an hour. Just get out into the woods and just enjoy being in nature. Just recharges me, and moving, and so exercise for me is what does it. And I try to get enough sleep. I've no matter what you do, if you're not sleeping, you're not getting the restoration your body needs, and
Mhm.
everything's going to go downhill from there. So I really try to, I mean, it's the obvious stuff: eat healthily, exercise, get enough sleep. If you do that, then, that's the foundation upon which everything else is built.
Yeah.
So it may have taken me a lot of years to get to the point in my life where I'm actually doing all that consistently. But to me, that's what keeps me going.
That's awesome. I think we've heard a lot of those from a lot of people. And I've referred to in the model, we have the ant with all of his ant tools. And those are the
Mhm.
ones that's what keeps us healthy. Having those tools in place.
The other thing I'll mention too is sometimes just sort of shrinking your circle of concern. It's easy in my line of work. It's like we're always thinking about the future of everything, big ideas. How do we make the world better? And sometimes you have to just say, you know what? I just need to focus on keeping my family okay right now, and turn off the news. I don't care. We're going to stay at home. We're going to cook a meal together, and we're just not going to, we're just going to be. And that's okay. You don't have to carry the burden of the world on your shoulders. The situation sucks. There's no, maybe there's some silver linings in it for some people, but for a lot of people, it's really difficult.
Mhm.
Um, we should just be there, do the best we can, help each other, but also, help ourselves too. Give yourselves permission to say, hey, I don't have to come out of this having written a new book or speaking 5 new languages or have started a new company. Sometimes it's okay just to, survive the week.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things that saw on one of the social media sites that they said there was a quote that said, "If you don't come out of this with a new skill, it's not that you lacked the time; it's that you lacked the motivation." And it just got killed. And it was sort of like, you know what? For so many people, it's such a crazy way to look at that, because for so many people they're working full time, trying to do school with their kids, they're trying to juggle so many different things that there's less time now.
Yeah, it's stressful.
It is
You know,
stressful. And
everyone's routines are disrupted. Yeah.
yeah, and sometimes you just have to say, I was saying the other night, there was just a night that I was just like, I'm just done. And I feel like I've been doing everything for everybody. And I just went up to my room and I said, I need alone time. Leave me
Yep.
alone.
Yeah.
And I
That's
was like, oh my
actually
gosh.
that's my number one complaint for me personally is I don't have any alone time.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a part of you, and there's requests to be on calls all day long, and it's just like there's no separation between work and life, because when I'm sitting at my computer, am I working or am I doing personal stuff? It feels like work. There's no different place to shift your mindset.
Yeah. I think it's difficult, but I think giving permission to people to say, you know what, go in your room and say to everybody, you know what, I need the night off. It's
Yep.
okay. It's all right to have that. And
That's what I've been doing too. I'll say, you know what, I need to take a break. I'm going to go for a walk, middle of the day. It doesn't matter. But also likewise, and it could be on a weekend, I say, hey, I have to do a thing for work. I'll sit down and I'll bang it out.
yeah,
Just, the schedules are less meaningful, or less traditional schedules. You do what works. And if everybody at home is happy and reading or doing something, I'll like, oh, and I have to work, I'll go work. It's not,
yeah. It's setting those
it's
boundaries
okay.
and saying this is it. And it's I think we'll come out of this with an interesting twist. I love the fact that everybody's got, dinners at home with their family, that we're doing a lot more of that quality time. So there's a lot of good in it too.
Absolutely. We're finding the same thing. Just the quality family time has been wonderful.
Yeah.
And we're sort of getting into that now. We've got a routine going, and it's fun. It's like, wow, it's I don't want to say like it's being on vacation, but it's not, but it has some of the same feel in that extending or spending extended time together as a family,
Yes.
which otherwise we wouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
We'd all
And
be sort of rushing, passing each other.
even the hard times will be times that you'll remember back that you worked it out. And
Mhm.
so, I do think that quality time is so important. Well, thank you. I know you've got a call coming up, so you're jumping from one to the other. But I really
Indeed.
appreciate you coming on. I think that this is so important to get out to people, and I think, take a look at the Envisioning Team website. We'll put it up when we post the video, and they're doing some cool work. You've done some great videos on the future of work.
Yeah, we've got some sort of forward-thinking vision videos, which are little. I wouldn't say they're out of date. I think Westworld season 3 was based on one of them, um, but we should be making a new one of those soon. Of course, we have our documentary video series, which I think is perhaps timeless. I think your readers may enjoy that. I'll make
Awesome.
sure you have links.
Awesome. We'll have some links, and maybe I'll ask you if there are specific ones that you want to include, but that would be great. And I look
Great.
forward to hearing more about your work.
Always great to chat with you, Donna.
And have
Take
a good
care.
one. All right. Thanks.